All right. So this isn't necessarily part one. It's part one of me talking about making this blanket. Hopefully the music's not too loud. Let's have some background music on. This blanket is actually the start of a free pattern from Helen Shrimpton. If you're into crocheting blankets with kind of intricate designs, then you probably already know about her. But she does a lot of crochet alongs, and this was one of her crochet alongs. I think in I want to say it was the fall of 2020. The fall of 2020. Um, but I finished the first one of these blankets in 2001 or 2021. And it took me less than a month to do. It took me 30 days. And there were 31 days in the month. So, yeah, did it pretty quickly. But yeah, so this is probably one of the more complicated pieces that she has this doing in the instructions. You're actually going to use um, colors of uh, two colors of yarn if you're doing a multicolor blanket. Now, the reason why I have these colors, we've got, unfortunately, the lighting is kind of changing the colors, but you've got this maroon, you have this lighter blue, you have this royal blue, you have this blood red, and then black. And I've got these colors. The black is kind of to tie everything in, add a little bit of distinction to the sections. Um, and then the other colors, these are for my son's godmother. She loves the color red, and her husband loves the color blue. So this is their gift. They've been married for over a year now, but because of COVID and all that other stuff, and I just never gotten around to asking them um, what their favorite colors were. So that's what I'm working on right now. But yeah, let's see. Um, this one's kind of fun to do. Like this particular row is kind of fun to do because it's got. This is not something that you'd normally come across in crochet when you're working with two colors at the same time, as opposed to a color in one row and then you change it up for the next row. This one you're actually doing two colors in one. So it's kind of unique. It adds a cool little effect. I first tried. Um, okay, so she had a coloring page for this blanket, right? So you could kind of figure out what colors you wanted to go with, and then um, the order in which you want them to go in if you don't follow one of her colorways. And obviously, I'm not following one of her colorways. So I tried doing that, and I got the first few done. Um, but it was just really, really difficult for me to change the colors. It's just it prints so small that I can't really do it by hand, and I was having problems with the art. Um, the painting program I was using, I wasn't able to capture the right sections that I wanted to paint, and I was spending way too much time setting up the colors. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to look forward in the pattern, see what color she's going to have next in blocks, and then I'll just determine what looks good to me. And this actually turned out a whole lot better so far. The colors to me are matching well. I know it probably looks like chaos, but I'm going to be starting up two full rows of black after this. So we're going to have that distinction before we go on to other stitches. But I think I have two rows to go before I finish the first part. And she's got 8 parts in total of her crochet along. And normally what she does, and these are free, all of her crochet alongs are free, but she'll release them over the course of, say, 2 months or over the course of like a month and a half. And where she is able to, I think, earn her money on it. Well, one, I found her with one of her crochet alongs that she did. So it was a free crochet along that I followed along. Since then, I've purchased 4 of her patterns, and they're very affordable. And of course, I think the reason why they're very affordable, you're only going to, you can use it multiple times. So it's not like she's getting repeat customers buying the same pattern over and over again. It's not like these patterns expire. And even if they did, you could just print them out, like if the link did. But um, she people who are new to crochet, or they see these patterns and they like the way they look, and they go to her website, and then they see some other ones that are part of the ones that you buy, and you get 1,000, or well, I mean, she's got quite the following. Sorry, I got to flip it like this to sort of untangle these because they get tangled up as I go and change the colors. But anyway, so she's got, I can probably tell you how many people she has. She has a Facebook page. And I can tell you how many followers she has. And if you assume that just, I don't know, just a small, not a small, but a pretty sizable selection of the people who are actually on her Facebook page purchase at least 3 patterns. I know there's at least one person, I'm sure there's plenty of others, but there's at least one person who has all of her patterns that they purchased. They purchased all of her patterns. And she does some Afghans, or she does Afghans. I think she's got some scarves, maybe a pullover. I know she's got a lot of granny square patterns. And then she has a lot of free ones too. But then she's got some, that you can buy. But she's got 61,600 members. And these are the people who came from her website, and they then joined the group. Now, there probably is plenty of people who don't join the Facebook group. They just heard about this website from some little old lady in their crocheting circle. And so they went to her website and they purchased the pattern there, and they don't have a Facebook. They never joined. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, you get those many people, and whenever she releases a pattern, if it's a super popular pattern, you can imagine that at least, I don't know, 10, 15,000 people would go to purchase the pattern just to have it. And again, they're like maybe $5 or $6 USD. I'm not quite. She has them in. Oh, and she has these things translated in so many different languages. It's very impressive. And so let me find one of her patterns. One of the patterns that I have that I've made 3 blankets from is called Wishful Thinking, and it is very nice. It's modular. Let's see. What else we got? There's Framed is one I'm working on right now. Okay, so that one was £6. So let's see. 6, call that pounds. So it was a $7 pattern at the time. The exchange rate might have been different when I bought it, so it might have been like $7.50. But again, I've used this thing 3 times already. But yeah, you get, we'll say it's $7. She releases a new pattern. It's up for $7. You have 10, 15,000 people purchase it when you release it. And she releases like 2 patterns a year. I want to say 2 paid patterns a year and like 1 crochet along. I think there was one year where she did 3 paid patterns. I'm probably not getting this right, but it's like 3 or 4 paid patterns in a year, and then 1 or 2 crochet alongs. I know one year she had like 2 crochet alongs released, and everyone was surprised. I think that was 2020, because she's like, well, I was waiting to do this 2021, but I think we all need a boost, and put it out there at the end of 2020. But yeah, she just has some absolutely amazing ones, and some of these I know I just don't have the time to do. And when you look at them, you think, wow, these are way too intricate for me. I'll never learn how to do them. And man, I mean, the most complicated thing I had done prior to finding her website was amigurumi. And that one's really not that hard, because you're making a circle, you're making a square, you're doing very simple, basic stitches. With amigurumi, you're generally doing single crochet, half double crochet, and in the very rare instances, you might be doing a double crochet. Whereas with Helen's, she actually, I would have to say she's invented stitches at this point, or at least in the ways in which you can have these just beautiful combination of other stitches to kind of make a new stitch. And I don't know, it's very nice. It almost reminds me of like those adult coloring books, only this is an adult crochet version, because she gives you basically mandala form. something that expands and repeats and is very symmetrical. And you just color it in with the yarn that you want. It's very quite nice. But like this one here, the only other time recently that I've done something like this was with amigurumi. It was a dinosaur I was making, and I was doing stripes, and the stripes require you to go behind the yarn and add it in. So this, I've actually have the red strand inside, and I'm switching off as I go. So I'm actually covering it. I'm not letting it just sit behind, because what'll happen, you'll give it to someone, and then these little strings will get snagged on someone or on something, and then they'll break. And then, of course, whoever you're giving it to probably doesn't know how to fix crochet material, so they either will be too embarrassed to tell you that something's wrong with it, because then they don't want you to think that you had given them some substandard work. Honestly, that's a fear of mine. A fear of mine is like, hey, I'm going to give this to you, and then it falls apart, or something wasn't weaved in correctly, or whatever, and they don't want to tell me because they think I'll be embarrassed or whatever. Which is one of the reasons why the only time I really take money for it is if I'm going to be shipping it to a friend. I don't like to take compensation, because I'm just so terrified that I'm going to make something for them and that's going to happen. And I do not want that to happen. And I don't want them to feel bad at themselves for having paid what you should pay someone for crocheting, spending all this time, $200 to $400, depending on how big it is, what materials were used, how long it took the person, on average. So obviously, if I wasn't live, if I wasn't talking this much, if I wasn't trying to think about things to talk about, I'd be going a lot faster. But yeah, so I'd much rather just give these away than have to worry about people be like, well, I paid $400 for this, and it was great when we got it, but now there's like these little ends poking out. And it's like, the only way that I can know for absolute certainty that there's no ends poking out is if I were to like affix it with fabric glue or something like that. And you don't want to do that with crochet materials. You're going to get that hard. So if you have watched one of my videos with the where I was putting on the hair for that Belle from Beauty and the Beast doll, then you know that that the instructions called for permanent fabric glue. And I really was not too keen on that, because I know how that dries on yarn. Give me 1 second. I gotta go turn off the alarm. We have a medication reminder for one of our cats, so I'm just gonna get that real quick. Ziggy, stop. Alrighty. Got on my Halloween pajama pants. But yeah, I really don't want to. That's the only way I'd know they'd be secure, just for my own peace of mind. But so what I've done is I've just done this one. I did it with one of my octagonals or octagonal, however you want to pronounce this particular pattern, because I can never pronounce it right. I'm sure there's a correct way to do it. I just have to drop all the stitches. But anyway, so I came up with this way of weaving it to where I weave it in one direction, and then I weave it in the other direction, and then I pull all of the yarn a little bit, just a little bit, to kind of hide, to sort of the normal wear and tear of like a machine. So obviously, if you're pulling these tight and then you pull this, if you've cut these, they're going to pop out. Like, I mean, they're just going to stick out a little bit, just like a little frayed end. And I don't want that. I don't want a frayed knot. So I weave it in, I pull it a little bit, then I trim it. That's when I trim it. So here we go. I did that for the first time with, what was it? My the own octagon one that I made for myself, and I haven't had any problems with it. So I've done that with all of my projects going forward. Before that, I would just weave them up and down and up and down until I was like, okay, so if it ever comes out, even just a teeny weeny little bit, it's not going to fall apart. There's just frayed ends. And it's just, it really is hard with crochet because it's like the person making it, once they get to a level where they're doing pretty good. I'd like to say I'm at that level, but who knows? But anyway, once they get to that level, they know it's not going to unravel the work once they've secured it, right? But the person they're giving it to doesn't know that. They're going to see a piece of string and be like, oh my God, it's going to fall apart. And that's not the case. It's very, very well secured. All right. So what I would normally do right now, actually, last week, a few days ago, I don't know, I stumbled across a YouTube channel called Good Bad or Bad Bad. And it is the just funniest darn thing I've ever seen. I don't understand how they find these terrible movies, but it has me laughing. So I'll have that. I'll be crocheting like this. And then I have two screens. So the screen that this camera is on is actually, well, here, I'll show you. Not like anyone's going to be watching this, but I'll show you. So, okay. So this is the screen, obviously. I can see myself from it. And then this is my other screen. So when I'm crocheting, I'm watching Good Bad, Bad or Bad Bad on this screen. I'll have it on one half of the screen. And then I'll have on this half, I'll have the pattern that I'm working on. Then over here, I'll be playing RuneScape because I still play that game and I love it. And I don't quite know why, but I absolutely love RuneScape. I have been playing RuneScape since 2005, mid to late 2005. And not on the same account, not on the account I have now. I actually gave away my first account to someone who I found out played RuneScape when I was in the army. Because I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna play this game anymore. I've got other things to do. I was playing WoW at the time, so I was like, you know what? I'm done with RuneScape. And then a few years after I gave away my account, I was like, I'm not really done with RuneScape. And I can tell you what my first 99 was on that account. My first 99 on my original account was rune crafting. And if you played RuneScape, I got the 99 in rune crafting before they released RuneSpan. I got 99 about 2 months after they released the Ori. I don't know why my door's shutting. That's kind of creepy, actually. I'm just gonna shut it. I got about 2 months after the Aurani, I think it's pronounced, or something like that, way of rune crafting started. So, I mean, I got it almost the OG method. They had removed free trade for a while. I mean, it was a big mess. It was a big mess back in those days. And we had to do the assist system. So once I could start making nature runes, people would request my assistance and I would go craft it. But before that, man, I remember having to have the pure essence noted, and you have to trade them the essence and then either money. You could be paying them money so they can determine if they want to trade you, or sorry, my eyes itching. Or they could ask for the runes, and depending on what the market value was of the rune versus the coin, they'd take one or the other. And you were just basically paying for someone to go to the bank for you and turn the pure essence note that you give them. It's something that you can exchange in the bank. It allows you to hold a lot of one item in one of your inventory slots. But they'll go to the bank. Whoops. They'll go to the bank, exchange it, and then run back. So you're paying for a courier. The original favor. here on RuneScape. But yeah, so I mean, it was a fun time back then. But anyway, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna create a new account, and started playing again back in 2012 on the account that I have now. Ooh, halfway there. On the account that I have now. On the account that I have now. Wait, which way does it go? This way, okay. And boy, it was something. Great group of people. It's called Skill Union. Great group of people. But people have moved on as they do. You know, that was back in 2012. This has been 10 years now. I still play. You know, I play every other day, depending. That's going to scale back a lot. I'm actually going to be starting to study my CPA exam. But anyway, so, you know, you have people who they've moved on with their life, like things have gotten too busy, or, you know, priority shift, or they found other ways to entertain themselves, you know. And unfortunately, in some cases, the members have passed away. So, all that there. Let me lock that in place. Okay. So, unfortunately, it's dwindled down quite a bit. There's still a couple of the old timers. The guy who created it, what's his name? Silent Core. He still comes on from time to time into the group chat, but doesn't really say much. Again, you know, I understand everything's kind of just slowed down, and we also the group. It's for people just who want a clan. They don't want any other I'd say clan. It's not that type of clan. It's basically like a guild on World of Warcraft, but they couldn't call it a guild, so they're like, we'll call it a clan. Or like a Scottish clan, like it's a family basically. Um, but they just wanted some of the perks with being in one and not having to deal with restrictions, because some clans are like, you need login every week and you need to cap at the clan citadel, and when we do this monster event once a month, you need to be there or you'll get a strike. You know, there's clans that have all of these because they, of course, they want to have active members. That's what all groups want. They want the people who are active on RuneScape, or really on any game, are going to want to play with other people who are active. You don't want to log into whatever game you're playing one day and no one's been on for a year, and now you're just sitting there alone. You want to play with some people and you can't. So that kind of forces them to be active, so that way you always know you have a pretty lively player base. And I understand that, but really, it's probably due to clan mismanagement that it's gotten the way it is now, where it's kind of like dead. We haven't had a lot of recruitment, and you know, that's because the clan leader is me, you know. But it's just, you know, I'm starting a job on Wednesday. My kids have started going to school. I have 38 chickens that keep trying to reproduce. I've been doing at least 10,000 steps a day. I mean, this morning I did a 5.5 mile hike, a 5 mile hike. 5 mile hike. I gained about 1,200 feet in elevation. Went up to this really cool bluff. Got a great view. Heard some coyotes. Saw a lot of trail activity on the trail, as in, you know, like deer scat, footprints. There's a lot of bugs and lizards. I mean, it was really cool, but you know, since I'm more active now, there's just not a lot of time for that, and it's sad because I don't know who the best person would be to give it to, and I don't even know if they'd want it. I wonder, you know, if they'd be in the same position. So really, I'll have to ask a couple people who I know who are still active and who still message me from time to time, and see if they have any ideas. But really, I mean, the average, when I started playing, the average age of the people in the chat, 15, 16, probably 15 or 16, you know. They were playing RuneScape because their older brother was playing RuneScape. And then, Yeah, so they'd be playing because their older sibling was playing RuneScape, and so then they started playing RuneScape, and they kind of liked it, and then they liked the boss thing, and but now, obviously, that was 10 years ago. Now they're 25, between 23 to 28, even older, like myself. There was one lady who was the head of the clan for a while. Um, I'll use her in-game name, uh, Milana, and she did really good. She brought the Citadel up to basically a top tier. I think it's like tier 7, and that takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication. And it was also before, if you do play RuneScape, or at least EOC, that they made a change to how the clan resources are gathered every week. So she got it to tier 7 before they made that change. So extremely difficult. It took forever to get the resources you needed to maintain the level for that week. And then it took forever to get the resources you needed to upgrade the tiers. Now it's a whole lot more manageable. I think it's like, if everybody logs in and does it every week, I think it takes like 5 months. Don't quote me on this, but it's a lot shorter of a period now than what it was. And she was able to get it to tier 7, and then we were able to unlock all the cosmetics, basically the frou-frou items they're just decorative. They're not necessary. It's basically saying, oh, look at us. We're such diligent hard workers that we were able to keep this Citadel up. And it also gives boosts to the people who are in the clan to have the Citadel boosted up like that. But she passed away in August. It's been 2 years now, in August 2020. So since then, after about a little over a year, the owners of the game, Jagex, they made me, because I was the only deputy owner. They made me the owner of the clan because she hadn't obviously logged in over a year. So now I've got to find someone to go manage it, I guess. But I've been logging in almost every week when I can to maintain that level because, I feel like I have to. And we've had, people leave before that and after that just because they want to do things like, so in the game, oops, oh no, in the game, you can unlock these achievements for killing different monsters certain ways, player versus monster, right? Well, there's PVMing. So if you want certain titles, you're going to need to PVM with a group of people who also want to PVM and who are good at PVMing. And unfortunately, our clan is just not. It's more of just sort of a chill and chat type clan. So we've lost quite a few people from that, which is fine. That's what their priorities are. But this is the only one I've ever been in. It's when they first released the whole clan chat system and friends chat system. This was one of not the, but one of the first ones that I joined in. The actual first one I was in, now that I think about it, was run by a guy. I think his name was Old Knight. I think he passed away. He was a pretty big name in RuneScape, I want to say. But so back in the day, before they had the Grand Exchange, you had to find people on the forums to buy and sell materials if you wanted to do things in bulk. And one of the items, so you'd have people like me who like to do things repetitively, over and 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 over again. And there's some items like smithing. So you have mining, you have smithing, and then you smith the weapons or whatever and use them for those skills. So someone would mine iron and they'd sell it to the smithing company that operated through the forums. And then so they'd get a little bit less than the going rate, but you could always sell to them. So it was like, oh, well, I have mine 10,000. Instead of going to deal with someone who might scam me, I'll just go with these guys because they're reputable. Sure, I'll lose about 10 gold pieces on each item, but I don't care. This is less stressful. I can get it done like that. So they'll sell to the company. Then the company has people who are trying to get smithing experience and get paid for it. So those people will be like, hey, I have 10,000 coal bars. Can I trade it for a certain amount of coin, like a GP? Or could I get a little bit of GP and could I get 10,000 iron and 20,000 coal ore? So that's an option that you could do so that, they get that trade in. And then there's another one where you could go a step further and you could turn those steel bars into cannonballs. So then when you trade in the cannonballs, you could either receive gold pieces or you could receive a little bit less gold pieces and the completed steel bars, or you could receive a little bit, it's like a little bit more. It's like, so you have, if you just want the money, then if you want the money and the bar, and then if you want the money and the ores, because you're going to be doing a lot more work. So you have to get the pay for what you did, what you would have gotten if you sold them steel bars. So they had miners that would sell to them. They had smithers who would take the bars and smelt them, or take the ores and smelt them, putting them into that final component. And then you would have people who would contact the owner and be like, look, I'm looking for 100,000 cannonballs. And so there'd be a markup. So the person who's organizing all of this, well, not only is he getting a cut of the profits, but then he's in the game, he's hiring trustworthy individuals who would be basically like managers who, if ever someone needed ores or needed bars or whatever, and like, hey, I'm in this location, this is what I need. And one of those managers would be like, all right, I'll be right there. Here's what here you go. And basically do the trades while the other person's offline. Because obviously the head of the company isn't going to be online the entire time. So I had started playing on my original account and I had found him because I was just smelting bars. I was like, oh, this is a great way to make money. And I had read through all of his stuff, like, because you actually have to apply. You have to apply to do this on a video game. Let's say you apply in the forums and you fill out this answer sheet and what you want to do. And so I did all that, and then you join the friends chat, and then you get ranked based on how good or whatever it is that you do. And I was a very fast typist, and this was back in, I don't know, I was 15, 16, maybe 17. I want to say this was maybe back when I worked at UPS, so probably I was 18, and I had a laptop in my room. So yeah, I was like 18 or 19. And after work, I'd come home and this is what I would do for about 2 hours before I went to bed, and sometimes during the day, like I'd work on doing that stuff. But I'm a fast typer. So people would ask a question in the chat, and I'm thinking like, did you even bother to read the forum post? So I'd be like, no, actually, if you sell this amount, then you're going to receive this. And if you sell that amount, you're going to receive that. And we can only do it this way. Just because sometimes people would ask for clarification about the rules. And I read the forum post, so I knew what the rules were. And I can't believe I still remember this. This is one of those things, like, it has been over a decade. It's been over a decade. I've gone and gotten a degree. I've got 2 kids. I've already served time in the military. Like, it's been that long. And I still remember this day. Someone had messaged me and had asked me if I could do this one trade or whatever. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, I can't do it because, I'm working for this company. But if you put a message in the friends chat, then I could assist you. But I can't be making deals on the side because I've already agreed to work through here. And the dude was offering me like a lot. And then at the time, for me, for my player at my level, and the limited experience I have at the game, like 100,000 gold coins was a lot. Now, in about 3 minutes, I can make that. I average, I do mostly skill stuff. I don't really attack. Here, I'm not even crocheting. But anyway, I don't really attack monsters or anything like that. I generally just skill. Right now, I'm working on getting the max amount of experience points you can have in archaeology. But anyway, uh, so yeah, I get around 5 to 10 million depending on how good I'm doing in that hour. But anyway, so back then, yeah, 100K was a lot, and this guy had offered me something like 5 million. So it was a crazy amount. I was like, no, I'm really sorry, but this is I'm working for this guy. I made an agreement with him. It's not right. And then the dude, and again, I'm pretty sure it's Old Night, but again, I think it's OLDNITE. RuneScape. I want to say it was him. It's probably not. Yeah, the Old Knight. Yep, that was him. And for several years, he was battling out for rank run with Zezima. And okay, I had party. Oh. Maybe it wasn't Old Knight because they said he passed away in 2006. I think I traded with him once for some sort of smithing thing, but I don't know who. I'm sure it was one of the fifth players because the name just stuck with me, Knight or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm nuts. Uh, but I just feel like that was it. Oh well. Anyway, and that's why he was doing so good. But who knows? I'm not gonna say one way or another now. But anyway, the person who ran it was like, "Yo, that was a test to see if you were trustworthy." I was like, "That's some cloak and dagger stuff right there." And so he made me one of the managers, and for months I ran it. Um, so yeah, no, actually that's about right because I didn't join the military until 2009, and I was, yeah, 17 or 18. So that's probably why the company went down, is because he passed away. But his account is still there and valid. He actually had bequeathed his account to his friends in his will, if I'm remembering correctly. So, yeah, if it was him. Not, can't say one or another now, but like I feel like that was the right name. But anyway, um, yeah. So it was. I don't even know where I was going with that. Just the back in the old days of RuneScape, I guess. Now I'm just reminiscing as things have changed. Um, anyways, yeah, my day was pretty cool on that walk. The view was absolutely fantastic. I saw one of the high schools all the way from up where I was at. I saw one of the water towers that I'm pretty sure is the water tower that supplies water to our place, which is pretty far out. But I mean, it was just it was a crystal clear day. The absolutely fantastic. All right, I'm gonna have to wrap things up in about 5 minutes because I gotta go get my kids to sleep because they got a bedtime at 8:30, and oh, they're going to bed at 8:30. I ain't having the fights in the morning we've been having because they're sleepy. It's like, okay, guys. But anyway, so I'm up there and I'm looking at the everything, and I mean it's just great. And then sirens go off all the way down at the main street, and it's again far away, miles away, probably 10, 15 miles, maybe even more. But the coyotes in the park heard it because again it's a crystal clear day. This is a canyon type natural area that I'm walking through. And I'm like, those coyotes are like a tenth of a mile from me because that's very good sound. I believe they were actually below me because I was up, at that time, I was up about 900 feet, was about the elevation I was at. And they just sounded so crystal clear. I wasn't worried about it because coyotes, one, I actually recorded part of it because they sounded so much like my huskies. It was hilarious. But coyotes don't attack humans unless there's something wrong with the coyote. So if the coyote has rabies, it's probably going to attack you. But if it doesn't have rabies, it's going to stay away. And then some people believe that coyotes are nocturnal. That's not always the case. If they live in an area where there's a lot of human activity, they'll become nocturnal because they want to avoid being seen, obviously. But if they're in an area like the place that I was at, where there's really not a lot of human activity, the place is closed most of the week for research purposes and helping to protect the natural area. So it's only open 4 days a week. So it's probably for these guys, um, there's not a lot of human activity where I was walking. So they're, what is it? Diurnal? What's the, oh no, I'm going to go look. Maybe it's fine. Ah, I ain't gonna be able to pronounce that because it's diur. Diurnal. Maybe it's diurnal. Yeah. Okay. Diurnal animals that are active during the day. Oh, long and sleep at night. No, 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 no. Okay, there we go. Cathermeral. Cathermeral, I suppose. Yeah, which are active both day and night. So yeah, probably very much so. I've heard the coyotes out our way that are definitely active in the day. And my mother-in-law has actually seen an adolescent coyote who is walking around in our front yard. And I have 38 chickens, right? Well, we haven't had any problems with the coyotes. And I think it's because we have huskies. And where I position the chicken run gets it to where in order for a coyote from the main road to get on our property and get to our chickens, they're going to have to walk through an insane concentration of husky scent. And then in addition to that, I'm pretty active outside during the day, at least for right now. That's going to change when I start my job. But and then at night we have our huskies are out, especially right now in this weather. We don't want them cooped in their crates all day, but it gets to the triple digits, and our huskies, of course, have the undercoat. So we keep them in during the day. We let them go out to the potty real quick and then bring them in. And then at night, they just got to stay outside because it's, 75. We make sure they have enough water. And if they start fussing to get let in, we'll let them in and they can stay inside the whole night. But generally, they prefer to be outside. That's a problem sometimes, like when they killed the skunk in front of my car or they killed the armadillo in front of my car. So yeah, there are definitely some downsides to having those doggos hide. But okay, well it is 8 o'clock. I need to go get my children. I almost got there if I wasn't talking so much about our RuneScape. So that's how much I have left. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these little pod things left. And then I have 2 more rows of black, and then this one's done. I already got my kids' lunches packed for the day. You know what really irritates me though is I've been trying to take a picture to send this to my friend, and my phone keeps changing the colors on it. And this is actually in this looks orange in the camera, and it is not orange. This is really just a nice ruby red, or even a little bit duller than a ruby red. This is not this. This kind of looks like almost a reddish brown or a rusty color. This is actually maroon. This is probably the closest, but it's a little bit darker than this, and this is a little bit darker as well. So these colors are just like super intense, and the same thing's happening on my phone, which is just it's really annoying because I want to show her the progress I've done. I bought the yarn. I want to say it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. I bought the yarn Friday, And I started this, I want to say it was Saturday because I had to finish another project. And I actually do have another one I have to do, but I'll finish that later. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.